Alright. Well, here we are, the hangar. I'm going to take this one for a fly today. So we'll just do a quick daily. Make sure there's no bruises or chips in the propeller from stones. Engine mounts are all good. Earth leads. These magnetos can actually come loose. They're a slick mag, and if they do, they twist a little bit and put the timing out. And the oil, it's a typical gypsy engine. It's actually pretty good. It's just a little bit of an oil drip coming off a return there. And inch above half. Yep, inch above half. Which is good for at least an hour. Nip that up. Stick the head right in there and have a look. I've actually done this already today, so we'll just do a slightly quicker one. If you look after what's up front, the rest will follow. Make sure there's no bird's nest down in there. All returns tablets down the bottom, blah blah blah. With a 4-into-1 exhaust, the manifolds tend to come loose occasionally, but since I've changed into straight throughs, never had a problem. There's a flame trap in there, which only opens on full throttle. This throttle linkage here needs to be looked at carefully each daily. They can decide to let go, which means they tend to go to full throttle. That's the other mag. This is an oil filter. We give that 3 turns just to put a brush around the inside and clean the filter off a bit. Before the first start of the day, that's very hard to turn. Check all the spark plugs and leads are looking pretty good. Shielding, etc. They're REL 37Bs, I believe, the spark plugs on this one. That's an addition. That's a fuel pump for an auxiliary tank to pump up to the main tank there. But that's looking pretty good. Make sure that the air filter on this side's nice and unobstructed. No frogs, no nothing. Frogs, yeah, I've found some frogs in the engine before. Alright, we'll leave that open. Double check. This is where I start on the airframe. Making sure. Looks like these nipples need some grease. Grease weekly. And here is where you get damage on heavy landings. If you persist, it needs a bit of a wipe down the bottom. Do that after. Right, and so all split pins are in. Split pins. Good tension. Pitos off. The wires are wiped down with a mixture of marine grease and this diesel. What that does is put a layering over the top to stop any pitting on the stainless wires. That's what you can see there, a little bit of grease and stuff. Same as on all the external fittings. That's done every week. Alright, exercise the undercarriage. We do have that on the back. We should be careful there. Just have a look, make sure she's all nice and normal. They're locked in place nicely. Again, split pins, and make sure there's no cracked ribs. I feel all the split pins. And again, checking for cracked ribs. Never pull on these. If you're going to push a Tigermoth, you can push it from the inboard here, like that. That's nice and easy. Alright, now, cables. This is the quickest way to find a frayed cable, and it bloody hurts if you find one. Puts you off your day. Alright, they're looking pretty good. Now, chuck that in the back. Always get underneath. These are very important to have no slop, no tension, because this is our roll. I have noticed that does not have a sleeve on it, and it actually should. I'm going to have to get the guys to do that job properly. Just gone unnoticed. Okay. Oh, forgot the camera's in the... Don't push too much on these. Very important points, those ones. And you'll usually see if there's any twists in the fuselage if you give it a little bit. Horns, again, making sure that all the split pins are in. 1, 2, 3, plenty of oil on the grease. Tail springs do break. I've done one, but that was with a skid on. We've gone to wheel and brakes now that I'm licensed. Again, just making sure there's no broken ribs in the tail section. Making sure the split pins are in. And then that magic test again. Yep, good. Alright, inboard section. So I'll finish the back of this wing off. And the top, checking for any cracked ribs. You'll see a wrinkle in the wing. If you get a cracked rib, you might also hear some mashing. Now, in the cockpit, it's probably pretty dark. We'll get our head in here. 210 feet. And I looked at the QNH this morning, so that's roughly right. Make sure the oil pressure's at 0. The last thing you want is a oil pressure gauge that shows incorrect information. Before we go around the front of the other wing, we'll just make sure the slots are unlocking. Yeah, I can hear the flame trap that we talked about earlier, and there's no problems with freedom of movement. It's always a good idea to check all of this before you get in the plane, before you turn the engine on. Batteries, we've got full charge on that one in battery 1 and same in battery 2. Fuel's currently off. So that's the cockpit there. Because we're doing solo, seat comes out, the stick's already out, and just need to tie those seat belts up. So once that's done, we'll come back and do a check on the petrol, make sure there's no water.